As both panelists mentioned, I mean, data is super important, and having good quality data to train your algorithms is key, right? And AI um, requires a massive amount of data. If you look at, I mean, all the LLMs that have come out, they're trained on, I mean, it's basically compared to historical sort of models, these are trained on like 1,000 times more or maybe even 100,000 times more data, right? So they are trained. I mean, quality AI requires a lot more data. And especially in healthcare, that is hard to come by because I mean, there's patient privacy. And so, first of all, you have to anonymize data, and getting a lot of data is challenging. And in radiology, it's still okay because radiologists, I mean, PAC systems have to store historical data. And so you can typically get historical data in radiology. But if you go to other areas, if you look at immunohistochemistry or genomics, getting access to data is hard, right? I think second point is about safety. Dr. I think Blanket mentioned that I mean, you can build AI, but you have to ensure that it is actually um, safe to use, right? And that requires, I mean, typically in the clinical pathway, all AI has to be regulatory cleared. So you have to get an FDA clearance or a CE marking. And many times the trend of AI being adopted, like for example, if you use ChatGPT or any of those LLMs, they don't require a clearance. And so I think when you look at AI outside of healthcare, they don't require any kind of regulatory clearance, but in healthcare, they have to go through that clearance, which is a significant, it's a significant challenge because I mean, when we started at Qure, we started 8 years ago, and it took us about 4 years to get our first FDA clearance. We got it in 2020. And since then, we have gotten 18 other clearances, 17 other clearances. But getting that first FDA clearance was hard, and we didn't know how to do it. And the other pieces are linked to regulatory clearance is also the evidence, right? I mean, when you are building AI, especially in clinical pathways, you have to show that the AI is effective. It is actually improving diagnostics, saving time, making physicians more productive. Again, showing that evidence requires you to partner with academic institutions and basically deploy and spend time sort of and money, spend time and money running the evaluation for the algorithm. Again, that is something which becomes harder for startups to do, right? So imagine a startup which has to procure data, has to build algorithms, has to build the AI, has to generate evidence, has to get regulatory clearance. And so when you look at all of this, right, running an AI startup or starting an AI company in the healthcare space is almost like a drug development, or basically it's not similar to starting an AI company in another field. And you have to think slightly differently in the AI space. And we are sort of somewhere in the biotech. I would compare us to sort of biotech companies, right? That it is almost like a biotech company that you have to think about companies in the clinical space, especially for AI. And so those are some of the challenges, I think, from a product development and regulatory perspective. The other is that when you actually start thinking about how to deploy it in a clinical workflow, again, you want to integrate with a customer's current existing product base. And so if they have a EMR system or they have a PAC system, or they have so many other systems in the hospital, you don't want to then give them another system for them to log into to see what AI results are like, right? They want to be able to integrate with their existing systems. And that is again somewhat challenging because integrating with EMRs, integrating with PACs, integrating with dictation software, for example, you have to, as an AI company, you have to really work hard to make your AI seamless. And you have to go through all these challenges to basically build a product that can be commercially deployed. And once it is commercially deployed, I mean, or once it can be commercially deployed, there is also the question of how do you actually commercially create a pathway to find a commercial use case for these kinds of products. And for the commercial use case, you have to again build economic value models where you're showing, or health technology assessments, right? Showing that there is economic value in using these technologies. So there is the clinical evidence, there is the regulatory clearance, there is the economic evidence, there is the integration with the existing software ecosystems to basically be able to commercialize the product. So I think that those are some of the challenges that we have seen. And that just means that you have to work harder as a healthcare AI company than a non-healthcare AI company.